We welcome you into another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube on Facebook Live. In mere moments, we'll be joining the Sports Radio 98.7, the Fox audience here as well in Center County on a lots of breaking news Thursday here in the Valley of Happiness. Again, we are, as always, thrilled to be at Quaker Steak and Lube. Great place to be if you are a sports fan, a fan of food, or just a human being. Great staff here, great food, wonderful selection of food, great variety. Really do a great job of providing very good, very friendly service. And we thank the good folks here at Quaker Steak and Lube for being our host of the show here on both Facebook Live and on Sports Radio 98.7. The Fox, of course, is a great place to watch all of your sports as well with the TVs down here. You can watch the Steelers Patriots game. First team to 10 wins tonight is the rule that is in place. You can watch NHL action, NBA action, college hoops, college football, all of the bowl games in all of their glory as we head into that time of the year. And again, you can do it all and check it all out here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College. And again, glad to have you along here on this Thursday afternoon. If you have not heard, breaking today, it does look like Duke is about ready to hire Manny Diaz, the Nittany Lions defensive coordinator, as their new head coach. And not surprising, disappointing, I think, if you are we've got the thank you, dear.
It's all good.
Just give me a moment. I'm working on the. Oh, let's see. I got the wrong. Just working to correct something on the Facebook Live. Well, that's not helping me though. Is the issue. That's where I was. So not a surprise that Diaz would take the job. Thought if he was offered, from day one, he has said he wants to be a head coach. This position makes a ton of sense on a ton of different levels.
I feel a little different.
Oh, yeah? Well, go ahead.
I mean, I just feel as if, it is Duke. I mean, even since I've been in college, it's in high school. Steve Spurrier was the head coach there.
Yeah.
They've always had these up and down years and never have actually had that, run of, 15, 20 years type of thing. I thought Manny, I hope it doesn't go back to that because I think Manny is a hell of a coach and has a great history of coaching. I mean, he was coaching Miami when they were under those, crap sanctions they were dropped on them for some unknown reason, whatnot. But I just think that maybe if he held out another year, there may be a Big Ten job open. I mean, honest to God, I was talking to Booch.
Do you want that?
Who?
You're Manny Diaz.
The Big Ten?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? I mean, if he's here type of thing, I mean, I not just the Big Ten. I guess they are the Big Ten, but I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, Florida might be open next year. USC might be open. UCLA might be open.
Do you want any of those jobs?
I mean, they're going to pay. So, I mean, if it was about money, then you hold off. But he wants to be the head coach, and I get it. I mean, that's what every head coach wants to do.
Here's why it makes a ton of sense. To me, this is a no-brainer if you're Manny Diaz. The question to me was whether Duke would offer him or Jim Knowles, and I think Duke made the right call here as well.
I agree with that.
I think that was certainly, you understand talking to Knowles, but I just think Manny Diaz, the energy he brings, the combination of kind of youthful exuberance, but experience, I think is just the right combination here for Duke. Let's go to the jobs you mentioned. So if USC's job opens, there is a ton of pressure there. You take that job, you better win and win now. USC is now in the Big Ten. So to win the way USC wants to win, you're needing to knock off Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Washington, Oregon, and others. Iowa, Wisconsin, all of the others. But I mean, that's 5 pretty big dogs
Sure.
that you're going to have to fight your way over. Not saying if you're a great coach, it can't be done and all of that. Florida is a rebuilding job now if you take that job. And you are trying to rebuild in the SEC to win the way Florida wants to win. You're going to have to be taking out Alabama. You're going to have to be taking out Georgia. You're going to have to be taking out Texas A&M, which is continuing to lay money. Texas, Oklahoma.
They're all paying 3 or 4 times.
You go
as
to
much
Duke.
as Duke. I mean,
You go to Duke. You are in the ACC. The expectations there
none.
are we need you to win 7 games a year to feel really good. 8 games to be phenomenal. 9 games. Whoa, we might be getting ahead of our skis. You win 10 games, and it's coronation time in Durham. And who you are overcoming in the ACC, Clemson, not sure exactly where
If
Clemson
there is an
now.
ACC.
Well, yeah, for the time being. Florida State, good team, no question, good coach. Not exactly a program that feels like it's invincible right now. And and again, I don't know what Manny Diaz's overall thoughts are. I don't know if his dream is to win a national title and he's not going to rest until he's the head coach of a national championship team. I don't know if it's, hey, I just want to get a nice place where I can, feel good, raise a family, do good things in the community, and build a solid winning program. Regardless of which of those, or if there's a combination thereof of aspirations, Duke, again, makes a ton of sense. Duke has become now a bit of a feeder for, I mean, look, Elko just took the Texas A&M job. If your goal is, hey, I got to get to the big time money, like, I want to be in the pressure cooker and I want the jobs that I just talked about. Maybe that is something that Manny Diaz aspires to. I don't know. But if you do, again, this is a logical next step. You go from defensive coordinator at Penn State, strike while the iron's hot. It's not going to get any hotter. It may stay red hot next season, but you don't know that. And we talked about this. I forget if it was on this show or Jim Galati's show, but yeah, listen, I think if Manny Diaz came back with the talent coming back, yes. I think Penn State's defense is going to be outstanding again next year. I think Manny Diaz remains one of the hot, prospects in all of college football. But what if there's a rash of injuries? What if, for some reason, James Franklin isn't here? And you don't know. Do I think any of that is happening? Nope. But you don't know. And we've seen situations go from rosy to bleak and vice versa very quickly, and you don't know. I mean, it's life. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. So, there is something to be said for, hey, there's an opportunity now. And again, I think he can be selective, and I think this is being selective. The Duke job, again, there is not a lot of downside there. If he goes and they don't win a ton of games, nobody's looking at it like oh my gosh, Manny Diaz couldn't win at Duke. Forget it. We don't want it. It's like, well, yeah, it's at Duke. Let's see if you give him another couple of years. And again, he's going in a couple of other components here. He's going into a good situation like Florida, like we talked about. I'm not saying there's not talent on that Florida roster, but it's a rebuild job there if you're taking a job like that. Duke has a pretty nice situation. They have a talented roster. Not an Alabama roster, not a Penn State roster. I get it. But they're in the ACC. To be competitive, you don't need an Alabama or a Penn State roster. So he's walking into, I think, a more stable situation than some of those other jobs you talked about. A lot less pressure. The money is still really good. Yeah, it is not Texas money. It's not Bama money. It's good money. And again, if your goal is, and I don't know if it is or not, but if his goal is, listen, I want to eventually be a national championship coach of big time football, Duke, an unlikely spot to do it, but I wouldn't absolutely say it's impossible, never going to happen. Very unlikely. I don't think that will happen. But what that job does, again, if you get 9 or 10 wins in any of the next 5 seasons, your name becomes a hot prospect to take. And you look at recent Duke coaches, they've gone on to bigger and better opportunities. I don't know necessarily jobs, but bigger opportunities. So that opportunity exists. Now, it may be that Manny Diaz is like, no, I want to find somewhere where I think I'm a good fit. I can make a difference in young people's lives, and I have some long-term security. Again, if he wins 9 games once every 5 years and is in the 6 to 8 range the other 4, I don't think he's going anywhere if he doesn't want to. That's not a bad gig to have. You're in a nice region of the country. You've got a good school. Again, not a ton of pressure, but I think a ton of opportunity. I think the risk-reward thing there is pretty appealing, ought to be pretty appealing to Manny Diaz. So regardless, I think it makes a ton of sense, and I certainly don't begrudge Manny Diaz. Again, much like Bill O'Brien had NFL aspirations and was upfront about that when he came in, Manny Diaz from day one is say, yeah, I want to be a head coach again someday. And again, to me, the Duke job here just makes a ton of sense for Manny Diaz. It is a bummer for Penn State because now you're looking at another season where you're going to be bringing in 2 new coordinators. And I think, obviously, very high hopes for Kotelnicki, and I think that is a good fit and good choice. But it's a new coordinator. You're going to have to, get a feel. He's going to have to get a feel for Penn State. Players here, players going to have to get a feel for him and his system, all of that. And on the defensive side, this is where I think it is going to be interesting, Goon, because James Franklin obviously has good connections and has no qualms whatsoever of going outside and finding the best person. And history would tell you that, yeah, he's going to go after a coordinator that has some experience and has had some success. I wonder if this might be the one exception, though, to the general pattern that James Franklin has had, only because of the culture that has been kind of created on that defensive side of the football, and the comfort level that I think the players have with the system, and the success of that defense over the last 2 years. And the question is, I mean, I think Anthony Poindexter, if they go in-house, would be the guy. And I'm not necessarily lobbying for him, but I could see this being a situation where, listen, we like what we have. The question is, do you think Poindexter can make the game day decisions of Manny Diaz? And there's no way to know that with certainty, but I think obviously you'd hope James Franklin has a pretty good feel for, you know what? Yeah, I think this guy would be good and can do that. Or, you know what? He's really good in the role we have him, but I really want somebody with experience. I won't be surprised if this is the one time James Franklin kind of goes against the general trend, which is, hey, I want to go out. And by the way, I'm okay with the way he does this. This is not a criticism in any way. It's like, hey, let's go out and find the best guy available.
Sure.
And bring him in. That makes a ton of sense. And I'm not saying Poindexter couldn't do that and say, hey, we think Poindexter is our best option, but he definitely doesn't have the experience and track record of success as a
but he has some experience. He was a DC at UConn, so he does have history there. So if James is worried about a guy who's not, like, because there is Sean Spencer and Elijah Robinson, both defensive line guys, very, very strong Penn State ties, but they've never actually made calls. So I think that Poindexter makes a little bit of sense because he has made calls before. I mean, albeit it was at UConn, I get it, but it is what it is. And the other guy no one's really talking about is Terry Smith. I mean, T. Small's been there he's been there the longest time with James, and he's been with multiple coordinators. So if he could, the whole thing about coaching under somebody is learning a little bit of each from somebody. So, you hear Poindexter's name thrown around a lot more than you hear Terry Smith. So be interesting to see if Terry gets a shot or Poindexter. Are we going to break or anything?
No.
Okay. So the other thing I'm worried about is who is Manning going to bring with him? Because I got a name right here, and that is Cedar. Jawan Cedar. I mean, I'm sure he's not upset that he got passed over for the OC job. I get it. He never did it before. Did it those 2 games. He did a great job with it. But he can go down and with Manny and be like, hey, I'm the top dog here. This is my offense here right now. So same can be said for Ty Howell. He's a North Carolina kid. His father was a outstanding high school head coach in the North Carolina area. You have that, but the only thing that would slow me about Ty and his father's connections is that Duke really isn't like a local recruiter. Duke is more of a national recruiter because of their academic standards. And again, like I started earlier, it may be moot. I mean, there may not be an ACC next year for all we know. I mean, there are some grumblings out there right now about Florida State just being so fed up with what happened that they might just boom and jump. And, did you see there's the possibility? I mean, no, it's been in the works for a few weeks, but
fans are calling.
They're yammering for it. I mean, it's funny watching them. And
for
it's
a
like
boycott of the Orange Bowl.
Well, they're also saying that they're just going to jump out and join the Big Ten and just get in. They need to get the academic accreditation in order. Again, this is all hearsay, all internet-based crap. So,
we've talked about this before. But listen, it's not. Florida State just doesn't by itself get to decide if it wants to join the Big Ten.
Oh, I know.
And so let's start there. Because I don't think it's a great fit, and I'm not sure the Big Ten. I get the brand, and the football brand is good. The overall athletic program isn't exactly, fitting well with the Big Ten, I would argue. They have some other good, I don't mean, it's not to disparage them, but it's not the broad-based athletic programs that the other Big Ten schools have.
It's an SEC type of program,
and and outside of I'm trying to outside of soccer, and their women's soccer is really good, obviously, but
baseball.
There's not a lot. Yeah, their baseball program is good, really good, but there's not a lot of other sports that they bring to the table. And the academic fit doesn't seem great. The geographical footprint at first blush isn't great, but throw that out the window, I understand. But it just does not feel like a great fit. And I think if the Big Ten were to bring another team in, like you need to bring 2. Like I don't think, right? You don't just stop at 19.
No.
So you got to get a 20th then. And where are you going? And I'm not. There are definitely possibilities out there.
I've always liked North Carolina in that aspect. But North Carolina leave Duke, but I never thought Washington would leave Washington State and Oregon leave Oregon State. So,
but I still think
that would happen.
If you're going Florida, I still think Central Florida is the much more logical fit from the Big Ten's standpoint, with the alumni base and with the overall footprint.
It's getting crazy now thinking about it. Now you're going to bring in 2 Florida. We got 2 California, Washington, Oregon, the East Coast. I mean, hell, invite them all. Well, I know I literally, we haven't been here since before Thanksgiving, by the way. I thought about this last night. Yeah.
You and I together?
You and I had not been together. I mean, your hair's already growing back for goodness sake. So, the NCAA commissioner this weekend proposed. Did you see his proposal about using the media money to pay players and having about a 30 or 40 conference?
Yeah.
Well, hell, if we're at 20 right now, we're all in on that. The Big Ten is. The SEC's 16, 14 or 16. So there's 34 right there. I just, it's the way to go, Ironhead. And I think that, if they can get that sort of straightened up, that position that what he's proposing, I think that would, I mean, we have said it for 3 years now. This is where we're going to trek to. So why are we pussyfooting around? Why should we just getting over there and just get it done now and boom, get the deal done, create this super conference. I guess, would you call it a super conference or super conferences? I mean, again, we're not NIL guys. We're not liking how it's being done, and the rich are going to get richer. And Rule's comment last week was just unbelievable. Did you, he said, if you want a good quarterback out of the portal, you got to pay $1.5 to $2 million. And I'm just like, my goodness gracious, what is going on here? Did you hear that? Read that?
Yeah,
it's just alarming. Just like, it's just, again, I go back to what I said from the start, and that is that, yes, I want him to get it, but it was for your name and image likeness. Now it's pay for play, and that's where we're at right now, and that's got to get cleaned up. Otherwise, it's going to be the same 15. Well, I mean, it has been the same 15 teams for the last 25 years. It's going to be college
football. It's always been, is what it's going to be.
It'll be worse, but at least the players will be getting more. So, it's just, I guess I'm still just stuck on the Florida State thing. I just can't believe, and I wasn't with you Tuesday to talk about it. I just, you could see it coming. But it was just like, this is not right. This is not right. This is not right. But the fact that, Georgia's got a real argument. They lost to the fourth-ranked team. Ohio State has an argument. They lost to the number 1 team in the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's man. Do you think that this clears up with 12, or we're sitting there from 14 to 18 complaining about not getting in next year?
There will be complaints and valid arguments and all of that, but it's where you're having those arguments, and it's just like NCAA basketball. Yes, every year there are some legitimate good debates, and I think in some cases there are teams that got robbed and teams that got unjustly rewarded. But you're not talking about the teams that are considered as the legitimate national title contenders throughout the season. And I get that, somebody can go on a crazy run. George Mason had the run of all runs. So I get it. And it can certainly happen in college football. And we talked about this a little bit on Tuesday. So the difference to me, though, is you get, with the 12-team format, most years it's 4 to 7 teams. Like I don't think even this year, which I think is more of the outlier in terms of the number of teams that have a legitimate contention. And I would put it at 7 this year, where it's like, there's 7 teams that you can make a good case for. We can debate how strong
7 was Ohio State, right?
Correct.
Okay.
But I think there's 7 teams there that, it's just like they can make an argument and a legitimate case that they should be in the playoffs. When you go to 12, like, there's still going to be debate and there's still going to be outrage and all of that. But it's going to be over not teams that were clearly national title contenders throughout the season. And again, that doesn't mean that a 13 or a 14 team, if it was in the playoffs, couldn't make that run. Not what I'm arguing.
Yep.
It's just that the teams that everybody throughout the season agrees, man, that's one of the big boys. It's usually 4 to 7 schools. Those teams are going to be in. And then we're going to have, again, still legitimate, spirited debates. And again, that's going to be no matter where you draw the line. It's never going to be clear cut. The problem that I am truly stunned. This is just me, and maybe I shouldn't be. And I get we love discussing and talking sports, and everybody has different perspectives and opinions. That's why I love sports. One of the many reasons I love sports and being in this field. I am genuinely stunned at the number of people who are justifying Florida State being left out. And the general consensus seems to be that it is okay because now we have 2 really good games, really good matchups, and nobody wanted to see Michigan blow out Florida State. Well, there's just a few things with that I have an issue on. Number one is, in what other sport do we do that? The answer is none.
None.
And can you imagine the outrage? And it has happened. I mean, there are teams that get hot at the end of the season in the NHL, in the NFL, in the NBA, where it's like, oh man, glad that team's not in the playoffs. If they were, look out. Well, if you had this same format in place, right, it would be, you'd have a committee sit down. It's like, well, yeah, no, they didn't earn, I mean, record-wise, yeah, they shouldn't be in there, but this team now has a much better shot at taking on the number one seed. This team just lost its forward. The goalie is out. This is going to be a blowout series. We're going to put in this team that finished ninth, but we're going to put them in at number 8 because, I mean, it's absurd to even as you're saying, it's like, well, no, my God, no sport would do that. Right, except college football does it, and then people applaud it. I mean, there are a number of people, like, and well-respected people that I really like, that are like, well, no, this was the right thing to do. It's unfortunate for Florida State. No, it's not unfortunate. It's wrong. You can't do this. You can't set up the rules. And listen, one of the other problems with college football is that the schedules are made in advance, as we've talked about. And like Florida State scheduling LSU, to me, is a big deal. And LSU is not a playoff caliber team this year, but that's a really good team with a great quarterback. You scheduled that game, right? You didn't try to take the easy road out. You scheduled that game with the idea we're putting a marquee opponent on there, a big test for ourselves, and part of it was a resume builder. We're checking off that we will play a big-time non-conference opponent. You can't help we keep calling them the 5-power conferences. Well, if they're 5-power conferences, then the conference schedule is what it is, but it is a power conference. That's what you, the folks in charge, have defined it as. Again, if there were 5 undefeated teams in the Power 5 conferences, okay, I unfortunately got to leave somebody out. But if there are 4 or fewer, then those teams have to go in. I don't even understand the debate here. I really don't.
No, it's projecting that Florida State's not going to give them a good game, so we're going to put Alabama in there. So with that same breath, did you really think that TCU was going to give Michigan a game last year? I sure as heck didn't. I couldn't believe what happened that game.
Well, and this is this is one of several problems here. But right, how many games have we got in saying we know this team is going? You know, I felt pretty confident the Steelers were going to beat the Cardinals on Sunday. The Steelers not only didn't win the game, they got waxed. It was not competitive. Well, if the committee wouldn't have had the Steelers playing the Cardinals, the committee would have removed the Cardinals and put in the Seahawks or the Dolphins, or, you know, man, this is a much better matchup. So that's what is. So what if you think? And by the way, and this is, I ended the conversation on Tuesday with this point, and I'll just reiterate it one more time because I know what's going to what could potentially happen if Florida State gets waxed by Georgia, and if there are 2 really good semifinal games, and all 3 of those things could happen, could very well happen. People are going to say, good, the committee did get it right. No, the committee still got it wrong. The NFL playoffs, we have blowouts every year, and there are games that you go in knowing, oh my God, this is going to be awful. It's the way the teams play to get in there. But there are teams that, they lose a quarterback right before the playoffs. Like, okay, they don't have a chance. We don't allow in any other sport, because the quarterback is hurt, they're not going to be as good. We're just going to remove them now from the right, and it's absurd. I mean, as I'm saying it, you're like, well, no, of course the NFL, that would be stupid. Ironhead, they can't. Right, it is. It's very stupid. You can't do it, and yet college football does it. They just did it. It's absurd. It's insane.
Sort of like giving Nebraska a national title in 1994.
That too.
Politics, baby, politics. I just had a wonderful idea in my head. You're saying Power 5 conferences and stuff like that. So we'll break them all in half, even in the quarter of them. Wouldn't it be nice? Because I have to say, I wanted to talk to you about the days of Florida State playing LSU and Alabama playing Texas. Well, I guess they're in conference now, but the out of conference games, they're done.
Yeah,
you'd be idiotic to play another big time team outside of your conference going forward. You'd be idiotic the way it is set up right now. You got to get into the 12. It doesn't matter what conference. I mean, that doesn't
Big Ten
matter.
of the SEC would be very foolish. You are correct. The risk reward factor there
no way
is very, very low reward and very big risk.
It's
ACC, Big 12. Yeah, I mean, Florida State is example A here of you go out, you try to schedule the big game, you do absolutely everything you can in your control, and you even get the help along the way. Everybody else loses. I mean, outside of Michigan and Washington. So again, there's only 3 undefeated teams from the Power 5 conferences. 3. There's 4. Like that should be painfully obvious that, okay, now the difficult part is how do we decide who the best one-loss team is? And listen, that's a really difficult decision. And no matter what you do, you're going to be wrong, right? Like there's legitimate arguments and debates there. But to me, there is no debate that Florida State should be in, regardless of whether you think they're one of the top 4 teams or not. And that's where, again, I think we're in just really bad, dangerous territory here, where you're trying to decide who the best 4 teams are, and to that end, and this has been made. This point has been made in several other publications and broadcasts as well. But okay, so if that is truly the case, why is Florida State 5 without their starting quarterback? You're telling me that is the better team than Georgia, right? Like nobody thinks that going into that game. There's a reason Georgia, I haven't seen exactly what the line is, but they're a double-digit favorite. Well, if everything is predicated on what we think are the best teams, everybody, I mean, maybe not the diehard Florida State fans, everybody else looks at that and says, well, no, Georgia's the better team. They have the better roster, more talent, better pedigree, all of those things. Well, you can't, on one hand, say, no, our playoff rankings are based on who we think the best are, and then you turn around, and I get, in terms of it's inconsequential, really, whether Florida State is 5 or 6, but to that end, what's not inconsequential is, again, head-to-head, would Florida State or Ohio State be favored with Florida State's backup quarterback with Rodemaker? Well, Ohio State, I can answer the question for you. Ohio State would be favored. Well, why is Florida State then 5? They should be 7, right? It should be Georgia 5, Ohio State 6, and Georgia and Ohio State should be playing, and Florida State. Well, no, that would be unfair. This is an undefeated. What? Are you insane? Right now, listen, what you do on the field has to matter. That has to be, it's not, but it has to be the end game here.
Sure.
And sadly, to me, very sadly, it is not.
Well, the only sport that doesn't do it, Jeff.
Football.
The only sport who doesn't have a playoff for a national title.
No, and it's
amazing.
Awful.
It's only happened one time. I mean, what about Ohio State the first couple of years with Cardale Jones? He was the 3rd string quarterback going in. He wins the national title over Alabama at Ohio State. I mean, where was this rule then? What's going on there? I don't understand. But that's the problem with this committee is that they can pick and choose what they want to do, and they change the rules all of the time. And when it comes down to it, a report came out that if the Alabama was not in the Final Four this year, the SEC and ESPN were due to lose $150 million.
Yeah, well,
so
there's no question.
There's your answer. I mean, if you want to look, just follow the money, baby.
And that was the problem. Is again, the other part of this is, and we talked about it on Tuesday. I'm rehashing this a bit, but if Georgia had beaten Alabama,
yep,
right, and everything else stayed the same, Florida State is in.
Yeah.
So it's not that because the playoff committee would not have sat there and said, well, Florida State without its backup quarterback isn't as good as Texas or Ohio State. So we got to put and Texas. I mean, it would be the team here because they moved Texas ahead of Florida State. Well, on one hand, it's like, okay, if you truly think Texas is better, do that.
They had the worst loss.
If Texas. Again, everything else was exactly the same. Texas crushed Oklahoma State. The Florida State-Louisville game went exactly the way it did. But Georgia, the only difference was Georgia won by a point over Alabama. Again, your top four, Texas is not in there. Texas does not jump Florida State in that scenario. Well, if Texas doesn't jump Florida State in that scenario, how in the world? Because we're just talking now Texas-Florida State. Those two teams have the exact same games, the exact same results. That was not the issue. The issue was, yes, now you had Alabama beating Georgia, which we knew could throw a wrench into everything. And now the problem for the committee was if we leave Alabama out, which rightfully should have happened. It should have been Michigan, Washington, or Washington, Michigan. I'd argue for Washington won, but regardless, those two won 2, and then Florida State 3 and Texas 4. But the issue was then you have the SEC, which has a lot of clout, has the ESPN contract, has dominated the playoffs, and in the last year of the 4-team format, you're going to leave them out. And my argument would be yes. It's unfortunate for the SEC, and they do have the 5th and 6th most deserving teams, but we only take the top 4, and it's this season and this season only that we look at. And this season, because Texas went into Alabama and won comfortably, to me, Texas should be that 4 team, but Florida State should be 3. And yeah, it stinks.
That's Alabama should have been this week.
Came on like gangbusters right at the end, but
did they?
Everybody,
they needed an Auburn. Yeah, they needed a miracle to beat Auburn.
Yep.
So people forget about that.
Yes,
I think, honest to God, Georgia had as big a claim as Alabama, but it was the head-to-head matchup.
And Ohio State there. I mean, it all. Yeah, there could be a legitimate debate about that. I think at the end of the day, the right thing to do, if the committee had gotten it right, it would have been Michigan or Washington 1, the other 2, Florida State 3, Texas 4, and then, yes, bummer, big time for the SEC and for Alabama and Georgia.
With that being said, what did you feel? I had a different feel for how Michigan acted when they saw Alabama's name come up.
Yeah.
Were you like everybody else and saying, "Oh my God, they're afraid to play Florida. They're afraid to play"?
No.
I think it was, holy crap, they left Florida State out.
Yeah,
that's the feel I got from that. And everybody's trying to say, "Oh my God, they don't want to play Alabama. Look at how they reacted. They're scared of Alabama." They're not scared of nobody at all. And secondly, I think there was more of like, "Oh wow, they did Florida State dirty," and they did. It was a horribly dirty. Yeah, brutal. Just absolutely horrendous.
Take a break here. If you did not hear, a former Nittany Lion retired from the NFL today, one of the all-time great stories of perseverance. And we'll pick up on that as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube in mere minutes.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube. Our thanks to Sioka Motors, our thanks to Lion Country Kia. Both terrific places to get your next vehicle. And our thanks, as always, to Quaker Steak and Lube, our home here on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 5 o'clock. Again, Manny Diaz looks like it is a certainty, is heading to Duke to take over the head coaching reins there. It will be interesting to see what Penn State does with that defensive coordinator position, assuming all the reports are true. And I do think Manny Diaz is taking this job. To me, the question was, would Duke offer it? I was hoping they'd offer it to Knowles, just not that I'm rooting against Manny Diaz, but just would love to see him back here for one more season with what Penn State has coming back and the opportunity that I think is there again next year for that breakthrough season for the Nittany Lions. But I think Duke got it right, and once it was clear that Duke was targeting and would offer Manny Diaz, to me, it just makes a ton of sense for Manny Diaz, and I think he'll do a great job there. I really do. And I do think Penn State will find a good defensive coordinator to replace him. Whether or not it's another Manny Diaz, again, remains to be seen. We'll wait and see. If you did not hear the other news that broke today regarding Penn State football in a more indirect way, former Penn State kicker Robbie Gould announced his retirement after 17 seasons in the National Football League. Robbie Gould, dear Goon, is one of the all-time great success stories here from our area. If you don't know the history, Robbie Gould was a good place kicker at Central Mountain, Lock Haven area, grew up in the shadow of Beaver Stadium, wanted to be a a Penn State kicker. I mean, it was a dream. Well, Penn State gave him the opportunity to walk on as a kicker, and Robbie Gould won the position. Had a solid career, ups and downs, but solid.
Not a 17-year NFL career.
Yeah, not something that would have led anybody to believe that, man, look out, this guy is going to be unbelievable at the next level. It's like, I think he might get a shot. Somebody might give him a look at the NFL. Maybe he finds the right team and sticks for a couple of years type of thing, right? I mean, I think that's what most expected. So, again, he walks on at Penn State. He's not like one of the great kickers in the country coming out of high school. He's good. Real good, comes to Penn State, starts, has a good, nice career, not drafted. They don't draft kickers like that in the National Football League. Goes, I think with his first two teams, right? First couple of teams, like, cut him before the season begins. And I'm forgetting, I think the Bills, were one of them.
Was he?
And
I don't know who he was with before. I know he made it.
And then, then the Chicago Bears are like, well, come in, we'll give you a look. He comes in and they give him a long, hard look. And he's the kicker there for, 11 years, I think. And then, or 10 years.
Still looking for a kicker.
And then I went to the Giants for a year and then spent 5 years with the 5 or 6 years with 6 years, I guess, with the San Francisco 49ers. So, again, walk on at Penn State, undrafted in the NFL. At the age of 41, his birthday was yesterday. He's 41 years old, and now on his terms, he walks away from the NFL after a 17-year career. He is 9th all-time in field goal percentage in the NFL. I mean, 9th all-time. There have been a lot of really good kickers coming through. 17 years to have that high of a percentage over that long of a period is remarkable. Well over 80%. I'll get the exact number here in a bit, but a terrific career. One of the most amazing stats that Penn State fans know with Robbie Gould is that he never, not once, missed a kick in the playoffs. He was 29 for 29 in field goal attempts in the playoffs. He was 39 of 39 in extra point attempts, point after touchdowns in the National Football League. That is astounding consistency when it matters most. Gould released a statement today, says he's excited for the next stage of his life and will focus on spending more time with his family. Hats off, kudos to a local kid made good. It is a remarkable story.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
I got one for you.
Yep.
So the story about Robbie was he was a good kicker here, but what made him great is that he transformed a little bit. And that was, I don't know who he went to or went to a kicking clinic type of thing after the college football thing. And the guy who was working with him, I don't know the exact names of it, but he just tweaked his style just a little bit, like maybe spin the ball 1 inch to the left type of thing, arch it back. It was something very, very, very small, but it changed everything about the way he kicked and his accuracy. And that's amazing to me that much goes into it. And then it's amazing to you, but it's not uncommon because it's like, it's kicking coaches are not exactly like a full-time roster spot for a coaching staff. You know what I mean? So these guys have these people who they go to in the offseason. They work with these kicker type of people, professional kickers. And Robbie could probably become one, in my opinion, because he has that kind of name and that kind of history with that and how much it helped him. Like I said, just something in his setup where he just arched like a couple degrees more to here or there, and it changed the way he kicked everything about his game, and then made him a great kicker in the NFL for a lot of years. Automatic.
Yeah.
I mean, every time you saw him play, it was like, well, this is you never saw him miss many big kicks.
not the big ones.
Sure.
Yep. And again, just remarkable in the clutch. I had somebody ask me today, and I've been thinking about it since, and because my initial reaction is, yeah, I think so. And then I had to look it up. There are 5 kickers in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And because somebody asked me, could he make the Hall of Fame? It'll be interesting. I think there is a strong case to be made there, Goon. Again, not many kickers get in, and not many just place kickers, kicking specialists get in. I do think. I mean, if you're putting me down and putting truth serum in me, do I think he gets in or not? No, I'm thinking he probably doesn't.
It's tough,
but I think there's a strong case to be made. Again, he did not miss a kick
in the
playoffs. First of all, 17 years to be in the league, 17 years in any position is remarkable. Again, he's in the top 10, 9th in field goal accuracy, percentage of field goals made. Again, it's the 5 that are in, 5 kickers. So I don't know, and that's
I'm like
that's
blanking right now.
Well, I think this is including. I'm trying to find
is it punters too.
I believe this is
punters and kickers.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe that's
so that puts Ray Guy in there for sure.
The case.
The only other kicker.
Let me look up because I'm not 100% sure I'm right about that, but I think is. Well, now now I'm gonna have to look this up.
I got you, buddy.
Because George Bland is in there, and he's always because he was quarterback / so that one always. I'm trying to find there was a list I had up earlier, and I think I accidentally closed that out. Yeah, I know there was a debate, and I'm just reading through trying to find. There are people. All right, Jan Stenerud is the oldest kicker ever, who's a member of the Hall.
Yep.
Morton Anderson.
Yep.
Is in the Hall.
I'm on a.
And
you were right with Blanda.
George Blanda, which again, Blanda's a little like. I mean, yes, he was a kicker, but he was also a quarterback.
Same as Otto Graham.
Yeah.
Or Lou Toe Groza was an offensive lineman and kicker.
So, and like Sebastian Janikowski is another
same
one.
Article, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
He's going to be earmarked for it. He's not in it. Vinatieri will be in it. Those two, and then Justin Tucker right now. So there's 3 guys right there. See, I have this. I had this
Tucker would be
really?
Hall of Famer. Dude.
Holy heck!
I mean, he's a Raven. So first of all, how much do we really want to give him credit?
Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but the kicker thing. I mean, I'm always in the. I mean, I always ask this question.
I think there's a case you can make. Is my point.
He'll be on a nomination
asking me,
list.
do I think he'll get in? No, but I think there's a case to be made, and I think it's a pretty strong one when you look at the postseason in particular. Like that is, when it comes to quarterbacks, right? It's like, well, he performed. He got his team to the Super Bowl and won Super Bowls. That's everything. And Terry Bradshaw was a good quarterback, but without the 4 Super Bowl rings, Terry Bradshaw's not in the Hall of Fame, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's clear. Again, to have never missed, and it wasn't like it'd be one thing. Okay, you're in one appearance and you make 2 extra points and a field goal. 39 for 39 on extra points. Again, it's extra points. 29 for 29. 29 for 29 in 17 seasons in playoff field goal attempts. Again, I think there's a case to be made. I'm not expecting him to get in.
Okay,
but I would lobby for him.
I always say, was he? When I talked to Mark Go and I talked to Jeff Hardings about this, because they get put on these initial lists.
Yeah.
And it's like, they have to go from there. And then the way I look at the Hall of Fame, and I go to what I mean, at any point was Robbie the best kicker, the best player in his position in the league? And the answer is no. But he did make one All-Pro in 2006. He was first team All-Pro and in the Pro Bowl. So obviously he was at that point. That season was, but as a career, that's the way I look at the Hall of Fame. But the numbers don't lie for him. I mean, my goodness, you put him on the Bears they weren't really making the playoffs too much back then. The Niners a little bit.
It'd be in the Hall of Very Good.
Yeah,
as
no
Dan
doubt about
it. Would call it.
And then I'm an adamant person about that stuff. I'm a big believer. It should be the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back to this. I go back to baseball last year. Scott Rowland was my favorite baseball player in Philly history. He's not a Hall of Fame baseball player.
Yeah.
Not a Hall of Fame. I don't know how the hell he got in. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
He had some great seasons and this and that, but he's not he was never the greatest player in his position for an expanded period of time. So, but you got Janikowski, you're going to have Tucker, and you're going to have Vinatieri's got to go in. I mean, with the way the Super Bowls he won and how he won them.
Vinatieri, I agree.
Okay.
I think Janikowski and maybe Tucker are interesting.
Janikowski has the name. That's the thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to sit. I haven't really sat down and studied
we're not,
all of the numbers.
You did your homework on the kicking.
But again, Robbie Gould is up there. Regardless, it is a fantastic story. And it's just nice to see somebody retire and express genuine excitement for what's coming next. Like, he is genuinely excited to move on now.
Did he kick last year?
Great career. Yeah.
He did kick last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he's going to be able to spend. Obviously, he's made good money over the years and presumably has invested and done all that stuff wisely. He's a pretty sharp guy. So he I don't think he's just going to sit at home with his family, but he's earned the opportunity now to be home and spend a lot of time with his family. It's a neat perspective that he has, a neat opportunity that he has, and obviously, again, a wonderful career that he had in the National Football League.
Previewing the show in my head today, in no way, shape, or form that I think I'd be talking about kickers for 10 minutes.
Yeah. Iowa defensive coordinator Phil Parker, by the way, winning the Broyles Award today as yesterday as the top assistant coach.
I got no problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it. I will say I think, and listen, there's probably 50 coaches.
There's so much
that
politics that go into that.
That are there are coaches whose defenses were probably like 20th in the country, and what they did with less talent is actually more remarkable than what Manny Diaz or Parker or Knowles or any of these guys.
We put 31 on them.
Did what's that?
We put 31 on them. Couldn't put money on Ohio State or Michigan, but I mean they must have really improved it from that game.
Anyways, Penn State.
But I mean, to me, if you ask me, my opinion is that guy's probably been up for that award 5 or 6 different times, and it was like, okay, these guys put the time in, he deserves it. That's how I feel about those type of awards.
There's no question about it.
I mean, what they were doing this year with as limited an offense as I have ever seen until tonight's game. Over under 30.5.
Yeah, I thought it should be 3.5. I've been saying all week that I think it's the
lowest since I think 93. I think the lowest over under since 93.
I was debating if it was 3.5 whether I'd take the under or over. At 30.5, that's an easy call. Give me the under. I'm only half kidding when I say first team to double digits wins tonight. I think this is going to be like a 13.
So I was in New Orleans this past weekend. So I was me and Troy. Big Troy got married. So we're down there at the sports book on Sunday. So you got every game on TV. And I was just watching the Patriots out of the corner of my eye. And I am just like, this team is just bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, but I love those uniforms. They had the retro red zone with what Patriot Pete on the helmet. Love those uniforms, but my goodness, they were bad. And the Pirates the Steelers were not much better on Sunday.
I did not see any of that game.
So Arizona has 3 wins this year. 2 of them, one against Dallas and one against the Steelers. And they blew them both out too.
Yeah.
Is it just like overthinking, like we're all right, overlooking? I don't know.
That's just
I just
awful.
don't see. Yes,
Awful,
that was
awful.
Tonight could be bad. By the way, I wanted to announce that tonight's game is on at the Lube. We know it's on Amazon Prime. I got the okay. I just didn't know if they had that here. They had the ability. So yes, it will be on television here at the Lube tonight. If you're gonna need a place to come watch, if you don't have Amazon Prime streaming.
Yeah, this would be a good night. Again, Penn State women's volleyball tonight is in the Sweet 16. Big opportunity, big challenge, but big opportunity. Third-ranked Wisconsin, the number 1 seed in the region, is the opponent for the 5th-seeded Nittany Lion volleyball team. But Penn State just beat a higher-seeded team in their place in Kansas, and they beat Wisconsin, albeit at Rec Hall earlier this year. So, I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like they have a puncher's chance. If you're going to put truth serum in me, I'm going to take Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin wins at home. They're very, very tough to beat there. But this Penn State team has a little something going on here. It is not going to be an easy out for the Badgers tonight.
Peaking at the right time is what's going on.
Yep. 8 straight wins for
I
Penn State
love
heading
that.
into tonight.
What is it? 43 straight NCAA tournaments that they've been in. And they're the only team that's been invited to every NCAA tournament. That is awesome. That is a great statistic. That's a testament to a lot of people. Obviously, Russ deserves a lot of that credit, but everybody who's running it now and kept it going and building it up. And, Lord.
We're going to take a break here. You're listening to WFXS, Pleasant Gap State College in the Happy Valley area on the radio. And also, of course, we're happy to have the Facebook Live audience in here on a Thursday. Real quickly, just did want to run down the high school scoreboard from yesterday on the local front. State College Wrestling got its first win of the season, improving to 1-2 on the young campaign with a 42-30 win at Shikellamy last night. Penns Valley boys basketball lost to West Branch 77-66. In girls basketball, it was Penns Valley picking up a 45-40 win over Tyrone, while Bald Eagle area fell to Bishop Guilfoyle 67-16. And Penn State men's lacrosse releasing its schedule for the upcoming season. 6 home games, including the season opener on February 3rd against Colgate. Penn State will also host Villanova, Yale, Cornell, and Big Ten opponents Maryland and Michigan. Big Ten championships will then be in Columbus at Ohio State for the semifinals and championship game this year. Also, congratulations to Penn State's Victor Begana. He is the Big Ten Swimmer of the Week. He won 3 individual races and 7 golds in all at the Big Al Invitational at Princeton University this past weekend. Take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk some Penn State hoops. The Nittany Lions battled last night. I think probably their best effort since the Texas A&M game. Still some things that they obviously need to shore up and work on. But, again, if you want to be the glass half full guy, and I do, encouraging that they played well enough to give themselves a chance to win on the road in the Big Ten. Yeah, Maryland is not, this is not your Len Bias-led Terrapins, that's for sure. But any road win would be a good one in the Big Ten. Penn State didn't get it. Again, lost in overtime, 81-75 last night. We'll talk a little bit more about the game last night and the hoops program as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show in mere moments.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000 1,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Look, hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Back to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show.
Hello.
Here on a Thursday afternoon. Penn State basketball again falling last night in overtime to Maryland, 81-75. Again, this is a team that was kind of quickly thrown together out of necessity by Mike Rhodes. I think he actually did a remarkable job, and I really like what the game plan is here that Mike Rhodes has for this program and trying to lay the foundation the right way, and I think they'll get there. I'll admit, I got caught up. The 4-0 start just had me, and I wasn't thinking Penn State was Final Four bound, but I'm like, you know what? This team has enough talent. This might be a team that could get into the NCAA tournament. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's impossible, but I think it is very unlikely based on what we're seeing right now. Again, I am all in on Mike Rhodes. I think they have the right guy. I think this is going to be a work in progress, and it's going to take a while. He's going to get his players in, get his system going. I think this team will pull some surprises throughout the course of the season, but I think it's going to have a tough time finding wins in the Big Ten. This is a really good conference, and this is a team that just is struggling on the defensive side and kind of inside right now. I mean, the rebounding deficit is
slaughtered on it.
Yeah, is just devastating. And listen, I think they'll work on it. I think they'll improve. But whether you can improve enough in a league like the Big Ten in the few months that you have to try to work on it, I have my doubts. They may have some nights where they just go lights out shooting, and I think that's certainly possible. And they win a couple of games that, on paper would have you stunned and shocked. But I think they're going to have a very difficult time this season in putting anything together consistently.
Yeah.
And again, shouldn't be unexpected, really. Again, you've had less than 6 months with this roster together.
that.
So right. So I mean, it's a,
to be honest.
It's tough because the inside obviously is hurting, but the communication part, I think they're struggling with as well. And again, it shouldn't be a great surprise, really. And again, I'll be the first to admit, I got a little caught up. It wasn't that I thought, okay, this 4-0 start, look out, this is going to be a gangbuster team. But I'm like, and actually after the Texas A&M game, I'm like, because Texas A&M, and they dominated the glass too, but it's like, well, that's their bread and butter. Like, that is what A&M is. That's who they are. That is their identity. So I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, you got beat on the boards badly in that game. I guess I didn't realize just how much that was going to portend the issue, the biggest issue for this team moving forward. And, obviously the loss to Bucknell was devastating. I do think this team did a nice job of putting that in the rear view mirror and trying to gear up for the next game. But listen, if you can't pull that one out at Maryland, it's hard to see where the road wins are going to come for this team in the conference. And again, I'm not sitting here telling you there's no way they'll ever win a road game in the Big Ten. I just think it's going to be hard for this team this year to be able to do that. I think if somehow they can get near 500 at home, that would be very impressive, given, again, what we've seen to this point. 5 straight losses now.
It wasn't a great Maryland team either.
And no, that's the thing. That's what hurt. I think this Maryland team is lower half of the Big Ten for sure this season. How far down, I guess we'll find out. But I mean, this is not a top 7 or 8 team. I don't believe in the Big Ten this season.
We have won 4 of the last 6 versus Maryland. I saw that stat last night, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And we play them tough. It's always a big thing. But that was one that had to be had last night, in my opinion. We needed that to come back a little bit after those. Was it the Bahamas trip? Is that where they were? No, Orlando. Orlando. Yeah, they were.
Yep.
Yeah, they were down in Orlando and lost those 3 straight games.
Yep.
And but did you see that schedule?
Yeah,
it was 3 games in literally 48 hours. It was like, whoa, man. It was pretty tough test down there. I mean, losing, they kicked to the last game, so they started off the day, right? They played 3 days, three games in 3 days?
3 games in 4 days. But
4 days, okay. Tough, but then, coming back and then the Bucknell one, I mean, you got to have that. I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And listen, I do give credit to Bucknell. They never flinched down the stretch, but that is a game. You have to figure out how to win that if you're Penn State.
I didn't see it. We were away, so was Bucknell like a senior laden team type of thing?
Well, they were just hitting. Yeah, they were hitting threes. Now Penn State's defense in that regard was not exactly fantastic, and Penn State missed some shots. I mean, Bucknell was. They hit the shots when they needed to, and Penn State just didn't. Again, it's very much a work in progress here for the Nittany Lions. Tough task here on Saturday as well will be the Big Ten home opener. Ohio State comes in 6 o'clock tip at the Jordan Center, and it's going to be tough. I'll be curious to see. Listen, the students aren't exactly the most intimidating student section in basketball in the country. It's not exactly the football atmosphere anyway. This is the last week of classes, and finals are next week. So I'll be curious to see what kind of energy the crowd is able to bring here on Saturday evening. I'm hoping they are revved up. It's like, hey, let's go take a little break from our studies, the students in particular. I'm hoping they get a good crowd and some people come in. But, again, 5 straight losses. Last time at home, you lost to Bucknell. It's going to be hard. And I think this team is going to need to kind of generate its own energy and figure out how to kind of get itself out of a funk. And I do think the effort was there at Maryland. I think there were some good things you could see to build on at the defensive end as well, but you just can't get hammered on the glass the way this team is and expect to be competitive.
Offense and defense, everywhere.
And expect to be competitive in a conference like the Big Ten.
Yeah.
In any conference, I guess, but especially in the Big Ten.
The recipe's out there, and that's crash the boards on Penn State right now. So they need to work on it. I'm not going to say I'm not worried about it, but the worst person who feels the worst, probably Coach Rhodes about the whole thing. I mean, the guy never lost ever wherever he's went. So, it's eating at him, and he'll get through it. He'll have them working through it. Benched his best player twice, didn't start him for 2 different games.
Yeah.
So that there's no frills in his coaching style. And I saw that. I was reading that, and I was like, all right, man, he's putting that the word out there with his guys that no one is below this, getting ridiculed, and you're not playing, you're going to sit.
Anytime you are a first-year head coach, right? Like you have to set what the expectations are and what the standard is for your program. And it's going to be a learning curve, and they're going to go through plenty of growing pains here, and that is obvious. And you knew that going in. Again, patience is always hard for fans, and you go back to the start of the season. I thought this team had a chance to be, and again, we'll see how it plays out. I thought it had a chance to be better than what we're seeing right now. I just don't know that you can make the type of improvement they need to be truly competitive in the Big Ten this year with the deficiencies that they have. I'm not
going to be easy, bud.
Not trying to be doom and gloom here. I just think this is going to be a very difficult season. I think brighter days are ahead. I'm still all in with Mike Rhodes. I think the overall goals and aspirations and the blueprint here is all really good and rock solid. I just think this year is going to be a little tougher than what I was anticipating. I guess I'll put it that way. I thought there would be some growing pains this year, but I really thought there would be some encouraging results. I'm just not sure there are going to be those. I'm not guaranteeing that there won't be, but
I thought they played very, very well against Texas A&M. Texas A&M, top 10 team in the country. They played very, very well against them and just ran out of energy.
They ran out of steam.
They ran out of them, and that was it. They gave it all out, and then the next two games it was gone. They didn't have anything to come back on.
Yeah, so. and even after that 3-game skid, Goon, I was still like, okay, that was rough, no doubt. But I really thought, listen, now some lessons learned, and you make some adjustments, and Bucknell just took advantage again of the perimeter defense as well. I mean, it was just all around Bucknell. I mean, Bucknell was the better team that day, and that's what was, I guess, kind of a, it's like when Toledo football came into Beaver Stadium. You're like, oh man, Toledo's the better team today. Like
ears just started ringing.
You're watching that game, and it's like it's not a fluke. I mean, like, this is Toledo's better today. And you're watching that Bucknell game, and down the stretch, again, Bucknell just would not flinch, and Penn State did. And, that's the game, obviously, of all of the games to this point. It's like, oh, man. And, again, I thought they rebounded effort-wise well against Maryland, but the execution is still a ways off. And, again, this would obviously be – if they can somehow – find a way to beat Ohio State here Saturday. You talk about just a huge sigh of relief in that locker room. I mean, again, I'm not saying that if they do that, okay, they're back on track and everything's good. But it just, boy, would that be great for them to go into finals week with that as they're feeling. I think they're going to have a really, really difficult time with the matchup here against Ohio State. This is not the team you want to see coming into the Jordan Center with the deficiencies that Penn State has right now. This is an Ohio State team that can expose those deficiencies in a big, big way.
And they're going to try to do it as fast as possible and
yeah,
as much as possible.
Yeah.
You got to take the boys out. Don't let them. I mean, as we always say, we're now as a football team. You got to put your foot in their throat and let them breathe and this and that. And that's what Ohio State's going to come in here, and they're going to try and bully us around. And I just know Mike, and I just know that he's not going to be bullied around, and he's not going to let his guys get bullied around. So it will be very, very, very interesting to see the next few games what's going on.
Yeah,
I mean, I sort of know his background, I guess, and where he comes from, and that's hard work's going to pay off, and that's the way he needs his players to be, and they're going to be tough kids, and they're going to go out there and fight, and he will not allow any other way.
Pittsburgh Steelers again tonight, taking on
Juggernauts,
the New England Patriots in a game that, listen, if you've been struggling to sleep, you are an insomniac, do yourself a favor. Amazon Prime tonight. The Steelers versus the Patriots. If this doesn't cure you, I really don't know what will. Listen, I am hoping. I'm a diehard Steelers fan. I'm hoping they get the running game going. They should be able to do that against a Patriots defense that is struggling mightily against the run. You certainly think that the team that wins the running game tonight is very likely the team that comes out on top. And it feels like that should be the Steelers. The Steelers' run defense is stout. Patriots not so much. I think the Steelers have found a little something, at least before the Cardinals game, with the 1-2 punch here in that backfield.
Harris playing,
but I am not overly optimistic. I believe so.
Okay.
So,
by the way, I'm looking up the Army Navy just to see what's going on there on Saturday.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for any kind of offensive football, you're not going to see it on tonight's game or Saturday's game. What do you think Saturday's over-under is? The Army Navy game. I mean, in the season that has Iowa setting all kinds of records.
Yeah.
It's very close. 27.5.
Is that right?
Are you kidding me?
Wow. Yeah.
I'm trying to get a little weather report up in New England. I mean, it might be, if there's snow coming, I don't know. If there's rain, something's going on. Jeez Louise.
It's a couple of reports. I'm just looking here. A couple of reports that say Najee Harris is expected to play. Not a guarantee, but sounds like he'll be in there for at least some.
So it begs the question, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
What is Belichick's record without Tom Brady?
Well,
it is unbelievable to think about that.
Yeah.
Because you do hold the guy in such high regards, but dude, they're 2-10 right now, and they couldn't beat Alabama, and
this is
or Florida State.
I mean, we talk about it a lot, maybe too much in some people's minds, but there are so many things that go into being a success in the National Football League, and especially as a quarterback or a coach. I mean, there have been, to go back to our earlier talk about the, assistant coaches and how you pick an assistant coach of the year. Most of these guys in the NFL know what they're doing. Like, they know football. They know the X's and O's. They know, hey, this play, the draw plays work well on third and longs in terms of risk reward. All of the stuff that, basic football knowledge. And I would say the majority of them are at least solid leaders. Like, they know how to give a speech. They know how to be organized, right? Like you get to a head coaching position because you've shown good traits along all of those lines along the way. Yes, you obviously have to have good players and great players at the right positions. And part of that is luck. I mean, scouting departments are important, obviously, but some of it is hit and miss. I mean, there are guys where you're like, there's no way that guy won't be great. And sometimes it's injuries, right? Like, I mean, Andrew Luck was literally a can't miss prospect. Everybody who followed football is like, Andrew Luck is destined for the Hall of Fame. Like, this guy just has all of the tools, has the natural leadership ability, everything. Well, injuries.
Do you think it was that, or he's just like, I'm not going to put my body through this. I have enough money. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think injuries.
It was definitely injury. There was a lifelong injury he had in his neck.
Yeah. So, but my point is, you don't know. I mean, even with the situations where you don't actually know, because again, stuff happens. We've talked about it with, Brock Purdy, Justin Fields, the situations, even a guy is unbelievably talented as Patrick Mahomes. Again, if Mahomes was on the Chicago Bears,
you don't know.
I don't think he's still Patrick Mahomes. I get it. But I mean, he's not what we think of him now, right? Like, he's just not. Still be very good, maybe better. Maybe the Bears are better with him, but not winning Super Bowls. I don't think. Not with the Bears, not with that coaching staff. And yeah. So again, there's just so many things that factor into it. And listen, I think Bill Belichick is a terrific football coach. I do not dispute that for a moment, but was not great in Cleveland. Booch made a good point. Booch thinks he's going to end up back at Cleveland. That's how this is going to play out, that he wants to have the opportunity to kind of prove that, he was on the right track the first time around with the Browns and just never got that opportunity, and now wants to close it out by leading that organization a la LeBron James to the promised land. That's an interesting prospect.
Which is a lot of different theories.
But I don't know that it ultimately much matters whether you think it was Belichick, Brady, the combination, the culture, whatever. It worked. I mean, what they did was unbelievable and fantastic. And yes, for those that think it was all Brady, you've got some more in your arsenal now with what the Patriots have done since he left. And obviously Brady went on and won a Super Bowl with an already stocked. I mean, there was a reason he went to the Buccaneers. Like, let's not, he didn't go and take a team that was struggling and turn them around. He went and became, the missing piece. In
good O-line, great running game,
fantastic
organization, great receivers.
Right. But again, all of that stuff does factor in. And listen, it's just not any great revelation, I understand. But in today's NFL, in today's college football, great quarterback play matters. Like, it's not the end-all, be-all. If you have a lousy offensive line, it doesn't matter. But, I mean, you start with, you've got to have a difference maker at quarterback. You do. You have to have somebody that is either remarkably dynamic or remarkably consistent and avoids the turnovers. Like, at least one of those things has to be in play for you to have a championship team out of your quarterback play. And we're talking about elite quarterback play. And it is funny. Everybody wants an elite quarterback, and there's probably about 10 of them in the world, 10 of them on the planet. Like, it is really hard, certainly no more than 15. It is really hard to find one of them. And every organization spends countless hours trying to find it and be in position to get that guy to come to their organization. But it's really hard. And again, part of it is, are you going to get the right mix? There's probably some more elite quarterbacks than we're aware of, because some of them are just in untenable situations, lousy offensive lines, no running game, coaches that don't know how to take advantage of the skill set. All of those things come into play, right? Like Patrick Mahomes is in a great situation in Kansas City.
He works well with Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy.
Tua Tagovailoa is in a really good situation right now with the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Hurts is in a great situation with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Come on, that's all him. It's all him. No.
You know, Dak Prescott has it humming right now with the Dallas
What
Cowboys.
does he need?
We'll see.
What does he need? What does Dak need?
See what the
Dak needs a run game. It changes his whole game.
We'll see what the rest of the season brings here. So
Sunday night's Birds Cowboys.
And listen, if you get it wrong, and like I think the Cleveland Browns, and again, injuries play a big factor. I think the Browns got it wrong and basically mortgaged their future here with Watson. I mean, this is we'll see. Maybe I'm eating my words, and he comes back and leads them to a Super Bowl next year. But that does not feel like that's going anywhere really good.
Did you see that picture this
for
weekend?
The Browns.
There's a picture of Joe Burrow on the sideline in a sling with the computer in his hand, helping out the quarterback and this and that on the sideline, helping out. And then there's a picture next to it of Deshaun Watson in the owner's suite with his girlfriend with his sunglasses on and his arm in a sling. And this is the difference in two guys. Yeah. So I've been reading about
Jake Browning. How's that for your backup find? Pretty good.
Yeah. Played against Penn State in the Fiesta Bowl with Saquon. What was I saying? Oh, about Deshaun. But Burrow, he's going to defensive meetings. Did you read that?
Yeah.
That's you can't coach that. I mean, and it's not crap, I'm sure. I mean, it's like he really, really honest to God wants that. I find that amazing, and I love that, and that's why the guy's going to be a winner. And you look at Deshaun Watson, and he's just like, I don't know. Maybe Joe Flacco's like, dude, I got this. I don't really need your help here type of thing. But Joe Flacco's been a Cleveland Brown for 10 days, so I'm sure he could use some help, but you never know.
And
Joe Flacco, by the way. I said Joe Flacco in the NFL still.
To that end, I'm still not sure. I am one of those. Most of my Steelers friends are either all in or all out on Kenny Pickett. I am still in the I'm not sure mode. And in part because of the things that we've just talked about. Like I don't know how much of his struggles this year were Matt Canada, offensive line, running game that early on was not clicking the way it should have been, the way I think it is now. And again, I didn't see the Cardinals game on Sunday. I just don't understand what happened there. But the other thing is, you have, Deontay Johnson is
it's ridiculous.
And again, I don't want to make too much of one play, but my gosh,
was that talked about publicly?
Oh yeah.
No. I mean, from Tomlin, did he say that he?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Over and over. So again, I'm not ready to proclaim that, yes, Kenny Pickett with the right coaching would be, one of these top 10 quarterbacks. I'm also not ready to throw in the towel and, oh my God, the Steelers, this was a bust. They got to get somebody else. I honestly, I'm like, I still want to see, how it plays out this season. Hopefully he gets back in a few weeks here and, hopefully has a chance to get into the postseason. And, again, there's been enough there that I'm like, I think there's some talent there. Like, I think he knows how to make those throws. But can he? I'm still not sure if he can read the defenses well enough and quickly enough to again. I'm not talking about whether he can be an NFL quarterback. I'm talking about whether he can be the guy that leads your franchise. I don't know yet. And one of the things. Was it? I forget now if this was Colin Cowherd. I was listening to one of the Fox shows earlier in the week, and they were talking about, and I make this point all the time with the wrestling, that there is a different expectation now. Like there was a time when every quarterback coming out of college was expected to sit for a couple of years and then they'd work their way in. And, some would, blossom right away. Some would take 2 or 3 years and whatever. Well, now, you have a CJ Stroud and it's like, well, if my guy's not CJ Stroud, then he's a bust. Well, not everybody hits it right out of the gate. People were ready to give up on Jordan. I mean, Green Bay fans were ready to give up on Jordan Love earlier this season. Now they're like, wait a second, maybe this is the next Brett Favre. We still don't know. But again, now you're like, well, yeah, maybe this is going to work. It not everybody finds it at the same time. There are guys that do. And that's fantastic. It's amazing for a Joe Burrow or a CJ Stroud to come in and make the impact out of the gate. Fantastic for them. Really cool to see. But, Aaron Rodgers obviously had to unusual circumstance there, but had to wait a while. Jordan Love, Mahomes comes in and right out of the gate. But a lot of guys, it's like, it takes a couple of years figuring out, okay, this is how and listen, I get it. Some never figure it out. That's what I'm saying is I don't know. Like, can Kenny Pickett put this all together? You get the right offensive coordinator next year, and there it is. Kenny Pickett leading the Steelers and being one of the reasons why they're getting back to the Super Bowl. Yeah, I think that's possible. Do I think it's possible Kenny Pickett just can't figure it out and doesn't have it and isn't going to be one of those elite quarterbacks who can do that kind of stuff? Yeah, I think that is possible. I don't know. I got so caught up and I'm beating myself up over it. He looked so good in that preseason. Good. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this offense has taken the next step. I really did. And I'm like, and I'm the one that always cautions, don't get caught up in preseason, good or bad. It's preseason for a reason. But I did. I'm watching it, and I'm like, well, preseason or not, like he's making the throws. Like the receivers are catching the ball. He's putting it on a dime. Like that stuff, that's not going to change. Well, it did. It changed very abruptly when the regular season started. So, yeah, there's my great analysis on Kenny Pickett. He is either going to not pan out or he's going to, or somewhere in between. How do you like that, Goon? That's what you come here for.
Do you think
great analysis?
I mean, do you think he's on a hot seat?
No, not with the Roonies. With the fans, yes. But no, I don't think the Steelers are going to be moving on for him. And for one thing, I think the Steelers are back in the playoffs this year. I think this team, in part because of the schedule remaining, but I mean, you play the schedule you have. That's the nice thing about the NFL is they don't get to step in and we think
the Cardinals.
The Steelers with Trubisky are not as good as the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen. So we're going to take the Steelers out and we'll just put slide the Bills in there. That's not the way it works in the National
Browning,
Football.
Flacco, Trubisky are your 3 of your 4 quarterbacks in the conference.
Yep. It's amazing. We'll take a break here. Be back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Your hands it, busboy. Your wings suck. I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.
Into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on a Thursday afternoon. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube, the place to be if you're a sports fan or a fan of food and beverage.
I'm both.
Come
Jeff.
on down.
And
I am right there with you.
I have a hat trick.
Yep, it is a wonderful place to come on down tonight. Again, lots of great sports action you can watch, including the beloved Steelers, as they will win a 3-2 battle with the Patriots tonight is my prediction. And you can also watch the Penn State women's volleyball team try to advance to the Elite Eight. Penn State again at third-ranked Wisconsin tonight in the Sweet 16, the regional semifinals. That match gets underway at 7 o'clock and will be televised by ESPN2. Again, if you're just joining us and you've been out of the loop today, Manny Diaz, multiple reports say, is now in the process of finalizing his deal with Duke, or Duke is in the process of finalizing its deal with Manny, but it looks all but certain that Manny Diaz is taking the head coaching job at Duke, and that means Penn State will have two new coordinators heading into next season. And, of course, the question then becomes, who will the new defensive coordinator be for the Nittany Lions? So I have a little time to figure that out. James Franklin has been very good at going to the Rolodex and getting big names in here and hot names in here, folks that are being sought after. And so I'm sure there will be some promising prospects interviewed. I do think it'll be interesting to see if Penn State does seriously consider or even ultimately go with an in-house decision that would go against the grain from what James Franklin has normally done. And by the way, that is not a criticism. I think what James Franklin has done is really smart and has worked out really well for Penn State. But this feels like a spot where maybe Penn State at least considers staying in-house just because of how well everything right now on defense seems to be working.
Yeah, they will have to for the Mississippi game.
Well,
for the Ole Miss game, so it's a little test up for. I mean, they're probably going to put
Poindexter
in there. So he'll do it just like Cedar and Ty have been the OCs for a little bit. So talked to some players last night in the players show, and the new OC has been out at practices and stuff like that. Met with them. It was pretty cool what he said, and I was like, well, that's refreshing to hear as a player. And he goes, I'm not going to force me on you. I will build my offense around what I have. I'm not going to do the whole, he didn't say it, but square hole round peg thing where it's like, you're going to do it my way, you're not going to do it at all. No, he's going to exploit what he believes are the offense's pluses. So, I mean, that's all you can ask for as a coach and the opportunity. And, it's just funny because we didn't have that while I was here type of thing, and the coaches leaving and stuff like that. But, I mean, you're literally out there for a practice, and this is the new OC. So you're going to go hard at practice trying to make a name for yourself with the new OC. So, and then you got to do DC. He's trying out right now. We're going to see how it is. And, Manny held a practice, the defensive side of the ball. And, Poindexter's going to come in. He's going to hold a defense another way. Hold him, I'm sure the terminology won't change. The personnel aren't going to change, but certain things about the practice will be changed. And there'll be a little more energy kicked in there, in my opinion, with our, both coordinator situations here. Yeah. So there should be some pretty spirited games. And all we've heard so far is Chop not playing, right?
Yeah, to this point, is still the only one that has announced an opt-out decision.
You do it a little sooner. I don't know.
Well, you pretty much have to by the end of next week, right? I mean, it's finals week wraps up next week, and then the preparation begins in earnest. But yeah, I'm wondering if
I don't think Ulu's playing. I really don't. I don't think he should play.
I think he is.
But if he does, he does, and it's great for him. It's great for us.
Yeah.
It's a big game for us.
The indications we're getting is that he is planning to play. Now, it might be a situation where the coaches kind of sit down and say, "Hey, we appreciate it, love you," and I mean, I don't know, but that's another one of those too where obviously when somebody gets injured, then it's like well, yeah, my gosh, why would you play? But the risk reward thing, I mean, the chances of you suffering a serious injury are not great. Now, again, when you have millions of dollars at stake, like generational money, I mean, there's insurance and all of that, but there is very much a business side to this, and it's an understandable and I think rightful business side to it. At the same time, I do think you can sit there and you can justify just about any decision in any situation. But the argument you could make for playing is, listen, one, the odds are not great that I will suffer a career-ending injury. Like that's not likely. Could happen, and again, if it does happen, then it's, my God, what was he thinking? But if he plays the game and doesn't get injured, then everybody's just like, "Oh, that was cool. Glad he played." Right? So it's what happens that ultimately determines whether this was just the most brain dead decision ever, or no big deal. He just wanted to get that experience for one more time. But I think that that is the other component, because truthfully, right, it didn't make a lot of sense for him to come back and play this season from a business standpoint, from a financial standpoint. And so if the reason you came back is, listen, I think he wanted to try to win a national title, but I think too, he just wanted to, I'm enjoying the college experience, the college football experience. I like being in this atmosphere, in this locker room. Well, the bowl game, I mean, that is a cool opportunity. It's a neat memory to have if you can. And it's kind of similar. I mean, we've had guys that football, wrestling, and I'm sure other sport, probably every sport, who have decided to, gray shirt or not go to high school. They'll get homeschooled that final year or final half year to try to begin preparing for the collegiate scene. And again, for some people it makes sense and it works with their personality. It's like, I don't need to go to prom and all that. For others, it's like, you know what, my high school friends are important to me. I want to experience all of the stuff that comes with being a senior in high school, and I want to do those dances and those proms and all of that stuff. And it's not a one size fits all. For me personally, I never had to worry about it, never had anywhere near that kind of talent. But I think if I had those decisions and options available, like, no, I really want to enjoy all of the high school experience. And I think And again, it's easy to say when you're not in those situations and you're not somebody that has the type of ability to be, an elite premier athlete. But I think I would have leaned pretty strongly toward, I want to experience the high school senior year that I did, and I think I'd want to regardless. And I think the same thing if I had had that ability in football. It's like, that's cool. You only get at the most, these days I guess 5, but usually 4 opportunities to play in a bowl game and be part of that on the field. I want to be part of that. That's unique. But again, from the business and the financial side of it, and it's not just business. Again, you're talking about generational money here. I mean, it can completely change
be a top 5
the trajectory of your family, not just your future family, and that is not something that these guys take lightly, nor should they.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that we got the year out of Olu was absolutely amazing, and he backed it up. He completely proved it. 0 sacks allowed all season. I think he gave him 1 pressure the whole season.
Yep.
Was out, won the student athlete award last night in Las Vegas. Top student athlete award in the country of great job for him.
One of the finalists there, Bo Nix of Oregon.
Bo Nix has been there for 19 years, though. I mean,
gets the honor, but very, very.
Bo
cool
Nix
stuff.
won what?
The I forget what that award is called.
Campbell
out in Las Vegas. Yes,
I thought Olu had won that already. Well, I thought he had won one of those. So geez, wow. I thought that he had actually. Oh, he was just one of the finalists then. So damn it, I apologize then. Well, how can Nix played in the 90s? Jeez Louise. The guy going, by the way, you see the guy who just left Texas Tech? He's going to Louisville.
Now I'm looking up. Now I'm second guessing, but I believe that's what I had read.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was laughing the other day. The Texas Tech quarterback who started in Oregon, went to Texas Tech, is now going to Louisville. He was playing college football in 2018.
Yeah.
He's going to start his 7th football season in the NFL. I mean in college football. It's just crazy.
Goofy times.
And then Booch was telling us that he was tweeting the other day about, what's going to happen is a player is going to try to make an argument to stay in college as long as he possibly can, because he's not going to make the NFL, so he can make more money in NIL in college. And I'm like, oh, geez. And then Booch sent me a little message last week that said there's some NIL stuff going on that I believe Oregon is a couple of women's sports are suing on a Title IX lawsuit against Oregon that their women's beach volleyball team and crew team are not given the same amount of money as the football program. And my answer to that is the same as yours, but I get it. There is laws in place, but this is my thing from the start. And then that was always that the reason the NCAA did not get involved with the NIL and just said, you take care of it on your own, is because the NCAA did not want to involve Title IX. And I can't believe it's taken this long for it to come up.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's going to be an influx of money for the big football and basketball programs, but where's the money for the other women's sports? They're going to get upset about it, and you're going to start seeing it.
Yeah. Bo Nix did win the William Campbell Trophy as college football's top scholar athlete and receives the $25,000 postgraduate scholarship.
Well, he'll need it.
That goes with it.
Olu's going to make $25 million next year, so yeah. Bo might need that $25K.
Who's your pick for the Heisman?
Daniel from Saturday. I like the LSU kid. I don't want to see Nix win it. I really don't. Honest to God, I just think it's not fair. He's been in the college. He's playing for 7 years. He retired in college football 1 time already. It's this COVID thing just drove me crazy, Jeffrey.
I wouldn't be able to vote for, and it's stupid, and this is a shortcoming of mine. I can't get over the Bo Nix that we saw at Beaver Stadium. And it wasn't that it was awful, but I'm like, that is not a guy that's and I get it. I mean, players progress and
maybe that's what I saw too.
But I can't get what I saw that night out of my head. And that just wasn't, And again, I get it. That's on me. That's not a Bo Nix indictment. It's a hey, idiot, get past. Guys change and grow. But I'm like, I saw with my own eyes, and I'm like, that's not a. Listen, if I had a vote,
I like
and
Penix
I don't.
too. I'm cool with Penix.
Yeah, Penix. So. Part of this comes down to what you think the Heisman Trophy really is. I would argue that if there was an MVP in college football, to me, that would go to Penix. I think he is as integral to Washington and their success as any player is to his team. Now, you could go through the quarterbacks on a lot of teams and make a compelling argument that they're every bit as important. I just think when they have needed him to in some big spots, he has come up really big this season. And I will say there's a couple of guys. I think Corum should have been invited. That dude is also just, when the chips are on the table,
He's
that
the most
guy,
valuable player.
Yes, and that guy gets it done for Michigan. And I get it, has a good offensive line. So does Bo Nix. So does Michael Penix. I mean, again, football's the ultimate team sport. If I had a vote, though, in all honesty, and again, part of this is just the bias. I saw him play in person, and I saw him dominate. It might be overstating that slightly, but took it to what is an outstanding Penn State secondary. But I really would vote for Marvin Harrison. If you ask me who the best football player is that I've seen this season in person or on TV, the best football player I've seen, I would rank Harrison 1, and I would rank Corum 2. And again, that's just me.
No argument here.
And Penix, I would certainly have on that list.
When they cheap shot at Marvin out of the title game last year, what changed? I mean, they were 14 points. They were up 14 points. Yeah. They had nothing without him.
And Jaden Daniels, by the way, no problem if he wins it either. Like that dude is different level, special stuff. Good.
Well, you said you saw Nix play, but you saw Penix play when he was a true freshman. You saw something pretty damn good when he was a true freshman at Indiana.
You were looking at that guy, and it's like, oh boy,
how's this guy at Indiana?
He's pretty special. Yeah.
Then how's he in bounds for
also?
A 2-point play?
Yes. Do they not see that there's an out of bounds marker there?
Paulus on the ground, out of bounds. I don't understand. And he's short of the marker.
Oh, just
a year should just go away.
Angering me.
So the other day, somebody put up there that there's only so many teams that have been to five plus straight bowl games. And I was sitting there and I was like, oh, we got to be on there and this and that, And then I was like, no, we declined in 2020.
Yeah.
And maybe still to this day makes me ill. That may have been my most disliked Penn State football team in the history of Penn State football. It easily was.
I understand where you're coming from. I just, I don't know. That was such unusual and tough circumstances.
Remember, James said it's been a tough year. We want to be around our families, and the game would have been 2 weeks later. So all it was, you were going to be away for 2 weeks.
I get it.
I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it.
No, I hear you. And you're not alone in that.
Nope.
That is for sure. Folks, we want to thank you for tuning in. We always appreciate that. Thanks to Quaker Steak and Lube. Yeah, nice to have you back in person here. We hope you have a great weekend. Good luck to the Penn State women's volleyball team tonight. Hoping they pull the big upset. Hoping the beloved Steelers win. I'll be watching the Eagles-Cowboys game. And hope you enjoy all of the sports this weekend. We'll be back
Army,
to
Navy.
talk about it all. Yep, greatest game in the country every year.
Love
and we will be back on Tuesday. Until then, be good and be safe.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
Since retiring, I have spent my time searching the countryside for the hottest wings in America. I always seem to end up disappointed. You call these hot? Back off, Luigi.
Mamma mia.
Get hands it, busboy. Your wings suck! I knew I should have stuck with Quaker Steak's triple atomic wings. You think I'm tough enough?
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
Sioka Toyota of Williamsport invites you to stop in today or check us out online. We have the smart path to your next Toyota, like the all-new Crown, BZ4X, the all-new Grand Highlander, Corolla Cross Hybrids, Sequoias, and more. Over 100 new Toyotas here and on the way. Don't make a $1,000 mistake. Choose Sioka Toyota of Williamsport and see the Sioka dealership's difference. Buy or reserve yours today and see for yourself why Sioka Toyota is the only stop you need for your next new car. Sioka Toyota, it just feels right.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen Baker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen Baker.
The Goon and Ironhead.